I gave myself a big surprise party for my 75th. If you don't think turning 75 is one big fucking surprise, just wait. Here I am, closer to dead than to alive, wondering what will be my last place on earth and what will take me out, knowing that one day the last thing I say will be the last thing I said, and vice versa. The future is closer to the present than it's ever been. People tell me that my segues have become confidential. I could always keep a secret, but now I keep it from myself. I have learned that just because I don't remember something doesn't mean it didn't happen. And just because I remember doesn't mean it did. My new practice is called mindlessness. I tried mindfulness. However, if you knew what my mind is full of, you wouldn't recommend it for me. When I was a child, I thought that old age was an affliction. I would see old people sitting on chairs in front of buildings. They had their own peculiar smell. They looked shriveled. I would hold my breath when I passed them, not wanting to catch whatever it was that made them look that way. Perhaps one day, a little girl will hold her breath when she passes me. Existential terror. Have a great day. Here are my names for bands of olders. The dry vaginas. Los impotentes. The liver spots. The post-sexuals. Game of groans. Navigating loss and less on the rougher seas of older. In 1998, walking down the stairs of Asia Society, my husband Brad had a heart attack and died. I was more present at the time of his death than I had ever been when he was alive. His death got my full attention the way nothing else ever had. He was 58, I was 55. We had been together for 34 years. Death has a life of its own. Life after death is about those of us who remain. As the hypochondriac I had become, I was so busy rehearsing my own death that it never occurred to me that he might die first. I was dying all the time. Until I finally gave up my death as a New Year's resolution. Hypochondriacs actually get it right. There is something wrong, just not what we thought. I moved upstate New York in 1999 and reconnect with Roswell, a musician I had worked with over the years. His wife had had a stroke and had to be moved to a nursing facility 1 month after Brad died. We started hanging out like grieving buddies. We had more in common with each other at that time in our lives than with anyone else we knew. I spent more time with Roswell in the 19 years we were together than I did with Brad in 34 years. Ours was a full immersion life. We lived together, worked together, shopped together, traveled together. He cooked. We fought. We loved. In 2014, Roswell was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. Cancer had moved in and was never moving out. We cohabitated. We became part of an ever-expanding club that no one wants to belong to. Oh, for the day when the C word meant cunt. His death was the most communal experience I've ever had. There was a steady stream of friends, family, neighbors who came for the last month of his life, which fortunately was at home. Musician friends came and played for him. At one point, there were 4 women perched on our bed, singing to him. Hospice is a miracle of compassion and practicality. Death and dying is what they do. It's what they know. The goal is not to extend life, but to make the end pain-free. Hospice reminded me a little bit of Jehovah's Witnesses. Whenever you turn around, there's another pamphlet. I had become the human breath monitor, waking up often during the night to watch his chest moving up and down and listening for the sound of his breath. On December 22nd, I was woken up again at 5:30. He was breathing. I woke up again at 6:30. He was no longer breathing. The difference between life and death is breath. They say that nothing is forever. That is a lie. Dead is forever. Mortality sightings on the rising. I read you can know you're in deep shit when you put your car keys in the freezer. So the question I have for all of you is, what about the sponge in the refrigerator? Does that count? Now when I can't find something, I start with the freezer so I can relax. I started seeing a bereavement counselor. I asked her about her group. I'm not sure they'd get you, she said. Get me, I asked. Well, you curse a lot. That's true, I do, I acknowledged. However, I'm civilized. I'm socialized. I don't tell anyone, go fuck yourself, or fuck you, unless they deserve it. Everything is as it never was. Death is a life-changing experience. By the way, I discovered the cure for hypochondria. Live long enough and it all becomes real. So it's a disease you can outgrow. Any old business, here I am. My father used to say that the first 100 years are the hardest. I used to think he was a cynic. Now I think perhaps he was an optimist. I went from looking good to, wow, you look good for your age. What happened to the burning bush that used to be between my legs? All I know is the bald eagle has landed. The hairs on my legs made off with my libido, and the hairs under my arms have migrated to my chin. Horny comes, horny goes. My new bra size is 36 long. As my skin rapidly separates from my bones, I realized if I stood on my head, I would suffocate. However, if I could have stood on my head, my whole life would have been different. 60 is the new 60. 76 is the new 76. We are the olders. I'll toke to that. At this very moment, all of us here are the oldest we've ever been. I put on and take off my retro spectacles. Thank you.